they have had an uphill battle in 2024, mostly because of their own undoing. We've seen multiple failures along the way. Most recently, we saw Star Wars Outlaws underperform. We've seen Skull and Bones. We've seen, I think they've had 3 or 4 misses throughout the year. And the one that's coming up that's probably maybe their biggest miss potentially is Assassin's Creed Shadows, which takes place in feudal Japan, which stars a black ninja. This has been an ongoing
in the shadows. What the hell?
Well, this has been an ongoing conversation since this game was announced, and there's been a big part of the conversation has been these right-wing bigots over in America. So much so that the ongoing conspiracy is that the right-wing bigots are speaking for Japanese people, and that they are taking their critiques and going to Google Translate and then ultimately commenting on Ubisoft Japan's videos. But it's not really Japan people. Everyone in Japan really loves this game and loves the idea behind this game, except for the people that don't, right?
Yeah.
Which leads us to today, as Ubisoft was scheduled to be at the Tokyo Game Show, which, Razor, I don't know if you know.
Before you mention this.
Well, please, yes.
They're like 24 hours removed from another controversy where they've released, I guess, a piece of merch that's like a statue that has Yasuke and Ninja Chick, whatever ridiculous name, Bufushaquaneta, I'm sure. I don't know what her name is. And she's perched on top of a what's called a tori, like a gate, like a Shinto shrine gate. And it's a half gate.
Yes.
And historically, the only half gate in all of Japan happened after the nuclear detonation in Hiroshima. So this is like 24 hours ago, and then they announced they're not going to be at Tokyo Game Show.
Right. Right.
So they're on a roll, folks, is what I'm trying to say.
Now, I've went in and I've dug and tried to find
Nagasaki. Sorry, it's in Nagasaki.
Right. I've actually tried to find this on like the Ubisoft merchandise. I can't find it anywhere. The collector's edition of what I've looked in the collector's edition and tried to find all the Assassin's Creed Shadows. But now that item was apparently a Japan release, which seems very dumb.
Japan only.
Yeah. Seems like a very dumb idea. But you can see, here's some of the things that are being released. Part of it, right? And then this is kind of the Funko Pop. This looks very similar, but obviously not the same. They have the helmet and the sheath and but I couldn't find the exact version. By the way,
what does it say in Japanese there? Buy the game, bigot. What is it?
Yeah, right. Well, all this has led to with all this blowback of everything that's happened and the ongoing controversy associated with this game, Ubisoft has now pulled out of the Tokyo Game Show, which many people find absolutely hilarious because at the end of the day, I thought everybody in Japan was super excited for this game, right? That was the idea.
So they would have been the belle of the ball to hear them tell it.
100%. And obviously they're getting roasted in a major way, with this. And I think this is such a amazing next step in this story. When you look at Ubisoft in 2024, it's like watching that Simpsons episode where Sideshow Bob keeps stepping on the rakes and it keeps hitting him in the face. That has been Ubisoft in 2024.
Yeah.
Except
it reminds me of when Eidos Montreal went out of business. Or they're still technically around, but like Square Enix and them, there was all this drama and they wound up being sold to Embracer. The guy who used to run Eidos Montreal did an interview after all that happened. And the quote was brilliant, but it comes to mind immediately right now. And he said, watching Square Enix's relationship with Eidos was like watching a car crash in slow motion. That's what the last year has been for Ubisoft.
1000%. And everybody, it's I go back to that analogy of like stepping on the rakes. But the problem is that Ubisoft put all the rakes down and they're the ones still stepping on them, right? And to see them kind of retreat after saying, no. It's all the Western, it's all those crazy racist Americans, right? that this tells me one of two things, right? Obviously, Assassin's Creed Shadow, a game built in feudal Japan, and an event taking place in Tokyo, Japan. You would think that this would be a shining moment for Ubisoft. This is where they are picked up, and it's just straight a scene out of Rudy, where all the Japanese people have Yves Guillemot on their shoulders, and they're like, "Yay, Yves, Ubisoft!" But no, they have totally rejected this idea, and I am all for this. Like, I do not hope for any company or anybody to fail, but when it's so blatant that you have injected this into your video games, and that you've doubled down and tripled down, and whatever next is for triple down, you've gone back to the well over and over again, telling their audience that you're wrong.
Yeah.
We're right. You get what you fucking deserve.
And there's a long preamble to this too, because this is the game, dude. They teased a game set in Japan going back to the first game. Did you beat Assassin's Creed 1?
No, I did not.
At the end of that game, in the Desmond segment, you are left basically to wander around Abstergo headquarters. And if you use your assassin vision, you can see a bunch of writing all over the ceiling and walls. And it was all teasers for future games. And a big chunk of it was in Japanese. Some was in Chinese. I think there was even some in Korean. And it was supposed to be teasing, here's the settings that we're going to explore in the future for Assassin's Creed. So they've been cock teasing the Japanese game for a long time. And then for a long time, they kept being asked, when's the Japanese game going to come out? When's the Japanese going to game? And again, they eventually got to the point where they were sort of like confrontational with their own audience. Hey, we're not inspired to make this game. We may not necessarily make. I remember at one point, Yves Guillemot said something like, it would be too easy to make a ninja assassin game or something like. Right. So after all this time and claiming that it would just be so easy, they're teed up for this game. It's a ninja assassin game. It's right there. And there's no Tenchu to compete with. And Ghost of Tsushima, you could kind of act like a ninja, but it's mostly a samurai game. You really have no competition in this category. And you biffed it. You fucked up. You found a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It is jaw-dropping. It is a level of failure not previously achieved by a major development studio. Bafflingly retarded.
Except Sony with Concord.
Good point. And well made.
There's always Concord, right? Vera over on X says Ubisoft spent $500 million on game budgets before. So they either hired dollar store historians or intentionally disrespecting Japan. There's no shot this many quote mistakes have been made. And, as pointed out, you brought this up before. Logan says, after all the fuck ups from Ubisoft, you can't convince me this isn't on purpose. Razor by Ubi. I'm sure you got $12. Should be more than enough, right?
Well, pretty soon.
Well,
and stock price lately.
Right. Well, the stock price over here currently in the U.S. is actually $2.62 right now. So there's
less than gas, yeah.
Right. So there's that. In the United States, it's $2.61 currently. And overseas, it is currently sitting at $11.96.
48.52% reduction year over year, bro. Almost a full 50%.
Look at that. Look at that 5-year return right there. 5 years ago.
Barking lunacy, dude.
Like, what a shock. Unbelievable. A high of $84.60. Now currently sitting at less than 12. Holy shysters. I mean, there has to be a larger issue here, right? There has to be something at play, right? I mean,
you have to look at some of their co-ownership. I mean, Tencent owns like 15% of Ubisoft. We know the kind of stuff they push on their sort of subservient studios, and we've seen that in the past. So, I mean, it could be a lot of things, but honestly, Ubisoft have been arcing in this direction for a long, long time.
Well, it continues, man. This has been a nonstop nonstop barrage of bad decisions. And you got to ask yourself, like, when will leaders, like, you can't tell me you look at that chart that just goes like that and escalates down. You can't tell me that stockholders aren't looking. There's the talk of the takeover, right? That's been ongoing, but surely there has to be some sort of change in leadership with a company that is just currently imploding like Ubisoft. At what point do they go, yeah, we should probably make a change? And maybe this Yves Guillemot guy, regardless of how long he's been there, may not be the right fit right now.
Right. But he's been in there. God, ever since I heard of Ubisoft's upper ownership, I've heard the name Yves Guillemot. When did he ascend to that position?
Man, that's a great question. I think he's been CEO for as long as I've been in the industry, which, that's almost 20 years now, right? So he's been around for a long ass time. So, but this has been to see them just totally retreat, I think, is probably the most amazing thing about all this. Them just saying like, yeah, we're done. Oh, here we go. This is actually a really great example. I pulled this up over on X. I literally just searched the latest thing, and this is somebody.
Well, actually, that's not even the latest thing. Didn't like a bunch of footage come out, or
footage of the game?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to get out there or whatever.
Well, yeah, there was a.
They say it leaked, but I think it came from a lab in Wuhan, personally. It did come from IGN China. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, this has been a lot to watch, and honestly fun to watch. And we kind of take a look at some of the memes for this game. Here's some from Western media, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's just a video game. It doesn't need to be historically correct. Black people exist. And then with Stella Blade, why is this character unrealistic? Why is she sexualized for men? Women don't look like her, right? And obviously the double standard associated with this game is fascinating. And of course, we got the old GTA meme. Oh shit, here we go again. We got Assassin's Creed Savannah, the next Ubisoft project set in Africa. Be like this. Obviously.
Yes. There we are.
Got generic white guy there walking on through. And this is probably my favorite one here. This doesn't represent samurai, represents samurai. Ubisoft holding it up right here along the way. So great stuff right there from the internet. Thank you for that. Man, what an absolute mess that is Ubisoft right now.